Okay, I'm not going to walk you through the entire process because I just want to make this as easy for you as possible. My advice would be do not do this. That's as plain as I can put it. It has been a 2-day project. The weather's freezing right now and it sucks. I replaced this because I've been burning oil, and yeah, it's old, it's gunked up, but this is not the problem. I've seen a lot of people complain, or they've tried to replace this because they're burning oil. They can't figure out why. This is mounted so low on the bottom of the air intake. There's no way oil is being pumped through the manifold up into the cylinders through this. It just isn't. So, well, I'm already there, so here's what I got. Obviously old and new. The new one does not come with a rubber gasket. This one seems like it should work. It doesn't fit the new one as snugly as it fit on the old, but that doesn't seem like it's going to be an issue. Just be careful not to lose it when you're reinstalling this one, because that's going to suck. Here is the hard part that I really want to talk about, and everything else you've either seen in other videos, or I'll try to give you a brief run through now. I've seen this for like 10 or 15 bucks online. You got to special order it. This broke coming off, which made me mad because nobody in the videos talks about what they did to get this off. So my advice is to basically try and work your way in there with a couple of tiny flathead screwdrivers. Get my flashlight. You can see this mess that I'm dealing with. Totally not worth it. Don't need to talk about that any more than that. Alright, on the left, which it's going to be hard for me to try to clarify that, but there's a tiny nub on the left side of this hole, and there is another tiny one which you can see better on the right side. That is how this plastic retaining nut, that's how that stays in. There are no threads, it doesn't screw. Very, very bad design. You can see I put some epoxy where it cracked here and right here on the most fragile point. I think I can get by with snapping this back on, but as far as people saying to just twist it and pull, don't do that, because one side broke and the other side didn't come off at all. I'm just going to very carefully snap this back over. I may even put a little bit of grease or something around these. But yeah, this is stupid, and I think this is probably the most useful bit of information I can give you, is what this actually looks like. I've seen people take this manifold off, whatever you want to call this, for the EGR valve, or PCV valve. Sorry, getting confused here. I don't know how the heck they managed to do all that. I am not pulling this whole mess out. I've used a pry bar to get some extra space, and my wife's extra hands. There's another bit of advice: don't do this by yourself. You've seen all the videos. Bolt there, that's on the left upper portion. Here and here is how you'll undo the fuel rail. My injectors did not want to come out, and I was afraid to put too much pressure on something old and plastic. So I basically bent away these metal clips and pulled this off that way. Much safer in my mind, that going that direction. Yeah, there are some random hoses and things. This one in particular is the one that runs directly over the PCV valve, and right there you can see the port for it. I didn't really lose any coolant that I can recall. Really the only thing I lost was gasoline, which there is quite a bit that sits in this fuel rail. There's not much you can do about it. Try to sit it upwards so less spills out on the engine. Okay, you know, as many of these anchors and clips that you can undo and get out of the way without having to unbolt anything, great. I guess back to what I was trying to say. 1, 2 at the top on the left, your 1 right in the center, 1, 2 on the right, and you've got 2 that are very difficult as far as the bottom goes, but this is where the throttle body mounts. You've got a long bolt that goes right there on top, and there is another right down there on the bottom. I pulled that off just blind. I used the extension and the 10mm socket. Wasn't too easy to get it seated, and pulled it out that way. Down below, you do have to undo one on the bottom, and I hope you can tell it's right in the center. It's that guy right there. To give you some idea what you're looking at under the car, right here where the light is the brightest is the starter. So pretty easy to get to underneath when you get that shield off. So, and I'll encourage you once again, don't do this unless for some reason you absolutely have to. Completely not worth it in my case. Picked this one up at AutoZone. I really don't like AutoZone personally, but there's your part number, PCV 1016DL. Someone had already bought this and returned it to the store, probably because they realized what they had to do. Overall, it looks identical to this, although the numbers from the factory valve are a little off from what came in this. But I guess in case I didn't already say it, couple of the short extensions, like 3 or 4 inches. This one will help you around the throttle body. And because this is always an issue, you should have 6 bolts for your intake manifold, all the same size. 2 bolts for the throttle body. They're the 2 long ones, and the 2 shortest are from the fuel rail, which I tried and tried not to take off, but there's no way around it. There are only a few things I won't do, and I will certainly never volunteer to do this again. Good luck, guys.